kind of a first world problem type issue. Makes sense. How's your League of Legends skills going these days, Joseph? All right, so tell me, what kind of stuff do you actually want to store in your inventory? Just give me an idea of the
small cube.
So like store a cube?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want to have
I want to be able to walk over to something, pick it up, and store it in my inventory.
Okay.
Or maybe pick it up when I run over it, touch it or something.
Okay. How many things do you have? How many things should be in your inventory max?
Let's say 10.
10 things. Okay, so let's think about it like maybe a bag. So let's maybe build our inventory around.
I think. Yeah.
Actually, don't we have some pickup stuff in our thing now? Let me just make sure we can still pick stuff up here. Oh, only left hand is working right now, right? Okay.
Yeah, sure.
We gotta have some Superman music playing there. Da, 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 da.
I don't know.
What's up? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's kind of I'm going to just create a little table here and put a bunch of those guys on it so we have stuff to pick up.
Yeah.
All right, so let me create a cube here. Let's stretch this guy out. And make him thin. We'll call that decent. And we don't even, actually, we do need to make him he doesn't need to be a rigid body. He just needs to have a box collider, right?
Yeah.
So then we'll just call this table. Okay. And we'll just call this guy item.
Just controlling them.
What's this?
I can't use touchpad to figure out where system stuff. Move the screen around.
Yeah, moving the screen around is not as easy. But I'm pretty lazy, so it's fine. I just put stuff near me so I don't have to move it around too much. See, I just have to be a better programmer than you. And then I'm ahead of I stay ahead of the curve. All right, let's just make sure that guy looks decent here. Just make sure you can plop down on the table. He currently has. We'll turn gravity on for him, and he should plop down on the table. Flip it over to the simulator. Okay, he's laying on the table. Okay, so then we can shrink him down some too. So we have the scale. Oh, his scale's already really small. 0.1 by 0.1 by 0.1. Just see how big that looks in here. Oh, look how cute it is. Okay.
You slide her over.
All right, so we'll put him near the edge of the table. Actually, these guys have a scale of 0.1. So this guy's position is three, 4. One, 4. Or 4. All right, let's just look at that real quick. Should have 10 of them lined up next to each other, ready for us to throw into our inventory.
Should have named them ducks. Yeah, the ducks in a row.
You said you wanted to store boxes. All right. Let me just make sure real quick that I can grab those. Woo! Hulk smash.
I had that problem one time when I broke my controller. I had
All right, so now we need a place to put these. All right, so when somebody, so you want to be able to take it and, so maybe have an inventory like attached to us or something like that, maybe like almost like a bag.
Sure.
Okay, so is this our dude? Oh, that's a controller. That's the play area. So maybe we can off of our, well, actually, those are the scripts. Where do I get my guy? I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to grab something. I want to see where VRTK puts it.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a child of either the left or the right controller, but let's just make sure. Oh, I haven't written that one yet. Oh, I got to hold on to it. Oh my gosh.
You just pause it.
Maximize on play. Oh.
Here's my play. So here's the AutoGen left controller.
One of the items looks like
All right, so that's the controller's attach point. So I need to get something attached to me. So when we teleport, what's actually moving? So I'm trying to think of this in terms of a generic. So I want something that's going to move with me. All right, so let's look at. That's controller events. let's look at interact grab. Let's see how that guy responds to a controller event to attach it to the controller generically. If it is attached to a controller object requires the TK controller event script to be attached. It listens for alias grab on and alias grab off events to determine when an object should be grabbed and should be released. Okay. All right, so here's the various events. Yeah, so we want to be able to respond to those same button events, and we need to get an object to come Let's look at this controller events example. Because we want to be able to respond to controller events and do something in response to it. And we need to get a game object that travels with the player. But how do we get that prior to runtime? Because we don't know which SDK we're going to be in. So we don't know if we're going to be the Oculus camera rig or the Steam camera rig. All right, so I'm pushing a bunch of buttons and stuff, so I'm guessing that must be events that were captured. So let's see if there was a trigger has been changed. Okay, so it shows a bunch of outputs. Yeah, so it's responding to a bunch of stuff. So let's see how it did that. Actually, no scripts. So here's the example. No, nothing there.
If you double click on the message, it should take you to the edit.
Oh, this guy? So that's vrtklogger.cs.
It should highlight it in the directory of all the items.
Common message keys. This is not the guy who we want to see how it's listening to these. So let's stop that. Okay. Let's look at what's on our controllers here. So we have VRTK controller events. And then here's this VRTK controller events listener. All right, and we saw that those, that's controller events listener. That's in here. Scripts. Controller, nope, UI, controller pointer events. Correct. I think it's this guy. Okay, so this is just in a script that we would write. So we're setting up some event listeners. So we're going to grab the component. So whoever this is attached to, we're going to get the component VRTK controller events trigger pressed, and add to that a new controller event handler. So we're going to, down below, there's going to be a function called do trigger pressed. So this is how they grab that event. So if we want to know about the trigger being pressed, let's just maybe operate off just that one. We should be able to jump down to do trigger pressed. Yeah, so then they're just outputting the trigger was pressed. And who's the sender? Because I want to know where these things are as well. All right, so let me just steal something here. And this first thing is just checking to make sure they have the controller events thing on there. Okay. And let's see what that do trigger. Is it just a public function? Do trigger pressed. Private void. Object sender, blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, we'll leave this open for a second. So let's go back into our sample scene. All right, and I'll go ahead. I'm going to create a new script. Just call this inventory for right now for a good reason. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and we're going to attach this guy to, let's just do it for the left controller. So the left controller already has the VRTK events. So we're going to drop inventory on this guy. That way he can ask that dude for the component that is that listener. So we'll go ahead and open up the inventory. Okay, and then on start, I'll go ahead and connect this. We need to put this in the namespace for VRTK. That's not we don't need it in that namespace. All right, so using VRTK, we're going to have a do trigger pressed function. So we'll just grab the function header for that guy in here. So this is the callback for that event. So let's just make sure it's working at first. So we'll just get a trigger press that prints out to the console. All right, so we added that to just the left controller, right? All right, so left controller has our inventory script. He asks about so he goes ahead and grabs the controller events and then specifically registers to care about the trigger being pressed on the left, on that controller, which in this case is the left controller. And then he just spits out that it's been pressed. So trigger pressed says trigger pressed. All right, so we're responding to it correctly now. So now let's do something in relation to that. What information do we get about the sender? Sender's just a plain Jane object. Let's just see what prints out when we say concatenated with sender, see if it tells us some information about what kind of object it is. The VRTK controller events, that's probably not going to help us that much. Unless that guy can tell us.
I found something on GitHub.
Okay.
VR inventory based on VRTK.
Yeah.
We had like a 1 minute video. And it's like this little box that when you let go of stuff inside that box, it just stays inside there and you can.
Okay, fair enough. But I want to, what I'm interested in, and maybe his video shows it, how does that box stay with you? This whole thing's going to be easily solved once we can figure out how do you make any game object stay with your guy. Because the problem is that because we don't know which SDK is going to load, we don't know who your guy will be at runtime. Your guy is either going to be the Oculus camera rig or the Steam VR camera rig or the,
I have 3 separate ones and put one on each and just switch it.
Well, you could, but there's got to be a more generic way of doing that. But I mean, I get it. Let's just quickly do a YouTube search.
I just do VRTK inventory.
That'll be a good video to watch at some point. How to use the VR simulator prefab. Was it this guy?
That was another one.
Here, Here, I just want to, let me do something else. VRTK game object with player. Actually, let's do this. VRTK get location. Get transform.
So we'll need something like this even for like the scripts that come up to read stuff off.
Yeah. I mean, once we can figure out how to generically get a position. Actually, let me look at something here. Unity. Let's go to the SDK Manager. So those are our script aliases. Yeah, what I want to know is how does that map? So VRDK, let's look at that SDK Manager and see if does interact grab, is he the one that knows how to attach something? Is grab button pressed? Attempt grab. Then it's perform grab attempt. How do I get my hands or my headset? I just want, just give me something that's on my dude and I can attach to it. Here's a controller reference. Where does this original controller attach point get set? Let's do VRTK headset position. Let's actually skip around a little bit. Let's headset menu one. Maybe that gives us an idea.
0, and on there we'll have the SDK Manager, the menu that tracks in front of us. So I'm just going to look in SteamVR and then prefab, and then grab the camera rig and drop it to there. And then again, SteamVR will grab and drop that to there as well. Next on the SDK setup,
he's making it specifically for SteamVR. Let's make sure there's nothing new in this working with multiple SDKs.
Tutorial video. And then all you need to do is make sure you click on the VRTK SDK Manager type headset that is working. If I had an Oculus Rift plugged in, and on each of these,
this is the same thing we've already looked at. VRTK player collider. There's pointers, there's locomotion. All right, here's presence, headset collision, hip tracking. Okay, collection of scripts that provide the ability to deal with tracking the world around the user in the scene. All right, so this seems somewhat promising. I just want the position. It's going to be something like totally stupid.
Object follow. Everybody follow.
Yeah, I don't think the follow stuff is what we want. Base headset? Okay. So we have the thing called get headset that returns a transform, and it's abstract, so that means each of the, this is SDK base. So we need to see an example of using get headset, which should give us the transform of the headset. So let me just do this in a different. I don't want the Oculus headset. I want whatever the headset is. VRTK device finder. A collection of static methods that can be called to find common game devices such as a headset. Okay. Okay, so I think this is, we're in the ballpark now, and this lives where? VRTK device finder. right, so let's just type something here. VRTK device finder dot devices. What's this guy? Device transform for a given device enum. Okay, so here's our possible devices. Headset. Okay. So we're going to put this in update. VRTK device finder dot devices dot headset. That is the device, and we want to do something with that device. We're going to print. We're going to print some stuff here. So print. VRTK device finder dot device transform of what device? That device dot position dot X, let's say. Okay. And we already can teleport around, so the hope is that this guy should give me different positions as I teleport around in the scene. No Oculus Rift app ID has been provided. Go to Oculus, Avatar, edit configuration to supply one. So, what does that have to do with anything? What happened to the code I wrote? Where did I write that? All right. Let's try that again. Well, I did something. It's back now. All right. Yeah, it's giving me a position now. So let's make sure it gives me drastically different positions as I. And you got it. So there's negative 19, 27. Yeah, so it is drastically moving. All right, so that gets me the position of my headset. So now, just for the sake of argument, I'm going to throw a box in front of my face. And I want that on an update. I'm going to make that guy at an offset from my face stay there. So he juggles along with me. All right, so we're going to create a cube. We're going to call this guy backpack. Wouldn't it be really nice if you could just change the albedo on the default material without having to create a new material? I'm just going to create a new material here just so we know that we're looking at, this is backpack material. We have what, a green backpack? Perfect. So there's our backpack. Okay. And then we are going to position that guy wherever we are, and then we want it to be positive on the Z.
Sure.
Yeah, so let's go +2. Well, same X, Y as us, and then +2 on the Z. We should see it in front of us. If it's not, we'll do -2, and then we should see it in front of us, and then we can. No, because it'll. Oh yeah, because we don't change position. Yeah, it's not swinging with us. Right. Otherwise, you would just be chasing the dog chasing its tail. Okay. Like that's your whole hackathon game. It's like, find the box that's attached to the back of your head. You get these little glimpses.
Get a little timer and have to press a button on the back.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you explode.
Okay, so let me give this guy, I'm going to give him access to that game object. So public game object backpack. And just so I don't forget, let me go hook that up. So this guy is on what I put on my left controller. Yeah, I actually could have put him on like the play area. So it looks like anything under the VRTK scripts gets created at runtime. But we'll leave it in here for our inventory. So we'll let him know about the backpack. Okay. And then let's position that backpack in front of us. So on update, we're going to say this dot backpack transform dot position. Actually, let's just do this real quick. Vector 3 new pos is equal to a new. Actually, let's go. We'll set that equal to the position, and then we'll say new pos dot z plus equals 2, and then position is equal to new pos.
That transform that position.
I'm in the wrong. I need this whole thing. This returns that transform. All right, so let's see if that puts it in front of us. Yep. Okay, so he's there. And then what we can probably do is make him a little closer to us and also a little bit down. And then we'll put a box collider in him because we want to be able to grab something, collide with him, and then have it store underneath him, but maybe have it only show up when we press the trigger.
Yeah.
All right, so by default, we'll say this dot backpack dot get component renderer. Dot enabled is equal to false. If it's currently enabled, disable it. Else, enable it. That should allow us to toggle it on and off. And let's just move it a little closer to us so we can reach it. Plus equals 1.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, then I can shoot baskets. Oh. Everybody's. Oh, wait a minute. So, first of all, why is, oh, whoa. Who's that guy? That's the tabletop, isn't it? Oh, yes. Actually, no. Who is that guy?
That's the one you originally had.
Oh, that's my original. Okay.
Is there?
My inventory is still here because I can collide with it, so I probably need to turn his box collider off too. But, haha. So the idea is I would turn that off. Where's my table of things?
Was that in a different scene?
I didn't think so.
I don't see it when you have to get on. It's not there.
It was such a beautiful scene. I had the perfect layout. Don't I have a table somewhere here?
Did you say that was a different scene?
No, that's possible. Or maybe I did like a Control Z at some point and yeah. It's not the end of the world. We'll just create like a couple of them. And then, so let me give myself a new tabletop. Actually, we can, yeah, so I had a tabletop and I shrunk that guy down because I had a scale of 0.1, 0.1, 0.1. Let's do a little bit better job of the points there. Okay. And then we'll create a gigantic cube, apparently. Stretch him out a little more. Okay. And box collider's good. Then we're going to take our cube, rename that guy like item. Okay, and this guy has gravity, so we'll just drop him on the table there. The kitty table. Okay, almost. All right, that looks pretty decent. Okay. Well, you said you wanted to hold 10. It's like the TARDIS, right? You watch, it's Doctor Who. Yeah. All right, so let's shrink our backpack down some. 0.25, 0.25, 0.25.
What's going to get people?
Oh, green's good. Okay, and this guy already has a box collider on it. So then what we probably want to do we are probably going to want to have a singleton to hold our current inventory. So a class that's just global.
Yeah.
So let me create a C# script here. And I like to call my singletons core. And this guy's not going to be a mono behavior. He's just going to be a normal plain Jane object, which means he won't have a start or an update.
You have to put static.
Not the class, but you will need to put static on the. So we're going to need for these things, they're going to be public, static. Let's do it. Actually, let's do this. Game object. Well, for right now, let's just have one game object.
Yeah.
Game object item, and this will start off at null. Okay. And so then inside of inventory here, well, now what we need to do is we need to put a trigger on our inventory. And maybe have a capture type script. So we'll do a create C# script, inventory capture. All right, and inventory capture, we'll have on trigger enter. And then maybe what we'll ask is we'll ask if other.tag is equal to, well, maybe items or things we could put in our inventory, something like that. Then we're going to say core.item is equal to other.gameObject. And then we would probably also then say other, let's see. I think we want to say other.transform.parent is equal to null. That'll disconnect them from our hand. Then let's say other dot get component renderer dot enabled is equal to false.
So this is going to get called as soon as we touch it. It's not when we grab it.
Correct. It'll get called when because we're going to put this on our green box.
Oh, okay.
So I'll have something in my hand. That thing will collide with that dude as a trigger. It'll notice that, oh, that's an item I'm allowed to store. So it'll go ahead and set core.item. Later on, it'll be a collection, a linked list of items or something like that. Core.item equals that game object. Then we'll make it disappear. Now, realistically, we probably want to... Yeah, okay, it's gone, but technically it's still a collider. So we could turn its collider off so things can't bump into it. Or what we do is just throw it way up in the sky. It's invisible anyways, right? So just because it's invisible doesn't mean its collider is invisible.
Yeah. We can turn the collider off.
Yeah, we can turn off specific things. Can we just disable the whole thing? Enable colliders with collide with other colliders. Okay, it looks like you just do an enabled equals false on it, and then that kind of just. So we've hidden it, and now we'll because I don't think that setting the wait, hold on. Other dot game object dot. Oh, this might be a little dangerous to turn it off like that. I was thinking I was actually dealing with the collider. They're not the game object associated with the collider. What can I do with this guy?
Can you clone it, like get a copy of it, and then delete the one that you have, and then when you pull it out, recreate it?
Well, I don't even know if you need to do that. I don't know if you need to be that fancy with it. We've already hidden it. So we can set active on it to false, it looks like. I think that'll deactivate it. So we get it. We will, we're acting like we're not actually going to add it as a child to our inventory. We effectively are just saying when I touch my inventory, that means put it in my inventory. My inventory is just held in a core dot item. It'll be item list or whatever later on. But I'll have to have some way of representing it when I pop them up. One after another next to each other or in some sort of grid if we're doing a 10 by 10 like you said. All right, so let's set active. And then let's just go ahead and we'll say print stored, something like that. And then we need to go back in here and we need to throw that script on our before I forget, I need to make that guy a trigger. Core does not contain a definition for initialize. So?
You make it static.
Classes can't be static. In C#, why would you make a class static? This guy is the static thing.
I thought that's what I did do.
So it's complaining that there isn't a constructor. So in C#, if you make the class static, does it then say that you don't need to have a constructor? I think this is equivalent to them complaining that you don't have a constructor.
I thought that's what I had done before. But
Yeah, we would not make a class static. And well, we don't need to print that out anymore. Let's see what other errors it had. Oh, we named our singleton the same thing as they have. They have another class. Platform Manager assumes a class named Core. So we
Master Game Manager. That's what I want.
Master Game Manager.
Yeah.
I don't really like it, but it's probably going to be good enough.
I have a game manager in each scene, and then I want to have one universal.
Yeah, that makes some sense. I just don't like the name.
Yeah.
But it's more that I just historically have always called my singletons Core, but that's more my personal habit than based on anything reasonable. All right, so now we name this guy Master Game Manager. Solution. Okay, so now we should be able to put inventory capture on our backpack. No. Oh, hold on. I'm not setting it. This is master game manager.item now. Okay, so he knows how to collide there. Then we need to make our item have a tag called item. Because we said only items can be stored in our inventory. That's this check right here. On trigger enter for whoever has the inventory capture, which will be our backpack. The thing we're colliding with is an item, then toss them in the game manager, not paying any attention to whether or not there was already something in there. Then make them invisible. Well, no, disconnect him from the player's hand, make him invisible, and deactivate him, and then print out that he's stored.
Is there any way to give something more than one tag?
No.
Okay.
You could make a tag that says this and this. This and that.
I'm just asking because, like, if I want to store things, but but I only want to be able to stab things with knives.
All right, got this thing. Yeah.
Can you transport with it while you're holding it?
No, because he always stays that distance from me. I shrunk him. I shrunk him down, so that's why he's too far from me now. We need to make sure we have a collider though on the, because he should have. Actually, I'm surprised. It felt like it felt like a solid throw, so I'm surprised it didn't land.
Those little boxes don't go there.
Oh, so you think it might have been a depth perception thing? Like it looked like it was better than it was? So inventory,
Those little boxes just don't fly.
so we'll do plus 0.25 on the Z. Okay. All right, hold on. We have to fix where our table is here. Yeah. All right,
He's saying that
that's a good question.
they collided.
No. Here's the item who has a box collider. Oh, I never actually tagged them. I created the tag, but never actually tagged them. And actually, just make him a little farther from me than he was. Voila. Stored. All right.
How do you get him back?
All right, so then to get them back, we got to push a different button, or maybe we
You can toggle one now. Grip your hands, bring them together, ungrip your hands.
you could have like this. It's like you can cast a spell. I'm thinking what we can do is when we pop up the inventory, if there's something in the in our
No.
yeah, then we could show it.
Yeah.
So we'll go back into and actually just to make things a little bit friendlier here. Where's my inventory capture? I'm going to add these static functions inside of my master game manager to hide and unhide.
Yeah.
Oop. Public static void hide object. Oh, it's called hide item. And this guy will take in a game object, go. We'll say go, get component renderer, and then go. Set active. And then we'll have an equivalent one called show item. Render will be true, active will be true. Okay. So then in here, we'll say master game manager dot hide item other dot game object. So that'll hide it. And then on our inventory thing, if we are turning our inventory on, if that's what we're toggling, we'll ask the question if master game manager dot item is not equal to null, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to show it. So we'll say master game manager dot show item master game manager dot item. Little ghetto, but it'll roughly get the idea. Then you just have to lay it out the way you want to, grid it like 5 and 5 or something like that. So now if we have something in our inventory and we show our inventory, that something will show back up. So let's try that. Okay, so I have this, pop my inventory open, it's in there. Now I'll hide my inventory. Now when I show it, oh, is he inside? Oh, he collided with it again. He instantly collided with it again.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
I saw it show up for a second there.
Yeah, he was there.
The hide didn't show it again.
Yeah, I mean, you could see it.
Can you remove the tag?
Well, I mean, you can, but you want to be able to re-grab it. So, I mean, I think the reality is maybe what you do is you say if there is something in there. I mean, you're going to reposition these things anyways. So maybe you actually kind of position your backpack down below. That's like the bucket to put it into, and then your 10 things are in front of you.
Yeah.
But just for the moment here, what we can do is we can say we get a backpack when it's empty. And actually, this will be interesting because even though we have the renderer off, I think it'll still collide. So I believe that this guy's going to actually still disappear. We're only going to turn our backpack back on if we don't actually have an item. But the backpack's still there even though it's not being rendered. So I think it'll still disappear. So we'll have to, I think, disable it as well. Let's test that. Yeah. Yep, still there. this dot backpack dot set active to false. Otherwise, just in case, this dot backpack dot set active to true. Now it shouldn't be collidable. Allah. All right. Probably would turn gravity off or something for your layout, but does that give you a decent starting? Because I mean, we can lay it out however you want. You just to create a grid and see what's going to be the easiest way. Where have I stored this?
I just watched the video.
Well, yeah, but I think I have it up on. Yeah, I think I have this stored on my Dropbox so that I can just give you a link to it so you can just grab the scripts.
Yeah.
Because it was clear you were following the scripts pretty easily. So if you just have the 3 or 4 lines of code that we finally figured out, that will be really all you actually need. Oh, we put it out here. So let me. I'll throw that whole thing in there for now, but then once it's done copying, I'll give you a link, but I'll also just throw the scripts directly into Slack, just so you have the 4 scripts, because who knows how long it'll take to finish syncing. I closed it. Just get. Just had those 3 scripts, right? Inventory capture, master game manager.
Yeah.
Okay. And then just for everyone else. Copy Dropbox link. That should be the whole project once it's done syncing on the Dropbox. Okay, so that should be your example of how to actually get the position of the headset, which actually was quite easy once we figured out how to generically do it. But now we have a solution that doesn't require you to know what kind of headset's going to be plugged in. All right, questions, comments, concerns, bribes? Bribes. All right. I guess I will see everybody on, well, hopefully I see most of you on Saturday. And Van, you're going to be here tomorrow at 2?
Yes.
Okay, and Josh said you can help at 3 after your class if we still are setting up?
Yeah.
Okay. And are you around tomorrow too?
1.
I have class at 1:10 to 2.
I'd be doing that.
You're gone? Okay. It's not a big deal. I think Van and I can handle it. I appreciate it though. Okay.
What? You're not going to be here tomorrow?
Yeah.